All righty, it's 6 o'clock, and we do have a quorum present. We'll call the meeting to order. We're going to have Marty Jimenez do the Pledge of Allegiance and Ricardo Chapa do the board mission statement.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Chrissy, do you have one comment?
Let me go ahead.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Through high expectations and equitable opportunity, TMISD will focus on the whole child as providing a safe environment and high-quality curriculum with diverse and enriching experiences.
Okay. First item, number one, is the budget presentation.
Mr. President, members of the board, if you could allow me, if we could have a moment of silence for the tragedy that's taking place currently in the Hill Country. Certainly, as an education institution that interacts with children, it touches us in a different way. And I just appreciate if we could recognize the people who lost their lives as well as the families and survivors for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, turning to business, we have Mr. Patrick Hernandez, and we have our architect for the new 7th and 8th grade junior high campus, and I'll turn it over. Oh, my.
Maybe you're putting
Need to lead the read. Actually, we don't want to talk about the budget. I was hoping that oversight wouldn't be recognized.
They probably just should have said budget briefing, because it's going to be brief. I don't have a presentation, but I will say that I went to a day-long presentation the Wednesday before 4th of July, or the 26th. Got a lot more insight on all the changes to the funding. And I worked the weekend trying to get the template, run the template at least for the first go around to see how things look. You'll definitely get all the details on the 21st at the regular board meeting, but it's not all doom and gloom. It appears that, the problem right now is I mentioned asterisks, until I get the certified values, which are not going to be available until July 25th. So I'm assuming that the values aren't going to change. Now, if the values drop, we'll be considered to be poor, so then we should get more state revenue. But I'm using the exact same tax values, so no change in tax revenue. But then when I plug in the counts of our teachers that'll be eligible for the retention raise, the 4,000 for if you've got 3 or 4 years, 8,000 if you've got five or more years, we've identified we have approximately 243 teachers that meet that criteria. So I plug those in. We'll get that funding. Then we've calculated what their salaries would be just for the teachers. We're plugging that in, and then for ADA. We're still trying to fine tune and make sure that our numbers for the year that just ended are correct. We already did the first submission. The second submission's due, I think, July the 20th. I think we might have to have it ready on the 17th. And so we got to make sure we got all our ADA for this year that just ended sent in correctly, so we'll get all the funding that we're entitled to. I'm using those numbers for next year. There's some things that are not in the template. We're going to get that regional insurance allotment, which is to cover our windstorm. That's not in the template yet, so I just plugged in $1 million just to show. I think we're going to get hopefully a little bit more than that, but that's not even in the formula yet. So when we do that, several variables that could change. we're not in a deficit budget. You know, this first run looks like we're not in a deficit. So, but think about it, we've got funding for the teacher raises, and I'm turning around and expensing that out, because I gotta pay that out.
Right.
So, now, what we're looking at is, and I'm highly optimistic that we should have a balanced budget, and we should be able to do something for everybody else, raises for everybody else. That's the goal. We still have to tweak some of the expenditures, and you'll see all that detail in the next board meeting. Like I said, I don't have a presentation today. But we're still working out, we still got a lot more briefings, a lot of things changed, a lot of legislative changes. And even some things that you don't even think about, oh wait, that's something else we gotta keep track of, that's something else we gotta take into account. So, we've got a few more weeks to tie all this stuff down, but I'm highly optimistic that we can have raises across the board for everyone and have a balanced budget.
And when will that go into effect for the teachers to have their raise?
Well, we hadn't really discussed it yet, but I mean, if we can, it depends on when we bring the new teacher pay scale.
It's sometime in August, and what generally happens is, for the August paycheck, all employees, whether they're on an administrative contract or a teacher contract, or they're an at-will employee, will be paid what they're making right now in this fiscal year. And then when the board adopts the budget with the pay increases, then they will receive that, plus it'll be retroactive to either
So-
July, August, or August,
So on the
September.
September 15th paycheck, everybody will be caught up.
Made whole.
Because most of the admin staff, we're July people. Our calendar year starts July 1, so we get our first check in July, we get our last check in June. All the teachers get their first check in August and their last check in July. So depending upon September 15th, once we approve the budget in August, September 15th, if you're behind 2 months, you'll get caught up the 2 month of your raise, and you'll be made whole on September the 15th. Teachers will only have 1 month to be made whole.
Okay? So the headline here is, think about 2 years ago, we had a $3.5 million deficit. Last year, you adopted a $2.6 million that's going to be considerably lower when the audit is done. And for the 25-26 fiscal year, it looks like we're very optimistic. Nothing's 100% till you actually see the numbers. And as Philip said, there's enormous amount of legislation action that's tied to education this year. When is the ESC's having a board update? Do you know exactly what that date? Because I sent it to you, but I forget when it was. And then there'll be a required legislative update for the 89th session. But I've done this a long time. I've not seen this much legislative activity related to public education, both on the student operations side, school operations, student discipline, and finance. It's landmark stuff. So, as Philip said.
We've got another update with Mr. Cruz. We're
The
still-
28th, yes.
We're still making sure we're up to speed on everything and that we've got a handle on everything.
But
that's
it's
changing.
night and day where we work. And that's a good
Well,
thing.
And I think the entire TMISD district needs to pat themselves on the back, because we were in a bad spot, and it took everybody doing their part to get us closer to bringing
Yes.
that amount down. So everybody needs to be given a congratulations on that, because
Thank you.
I know it wasn't easy.
Without a doubt, the teachers with 3 years of experience and higher, they're taken care of. The state's done that. We're focusing on bus drivers, young teachers, 0, 1, and 2, administrative team, paraprofessionals, clerical. that adds up, and they deserve a market level compensation. And we're, as Philip said, we're very optimistic as of right now, and we'll go forward.
But as numbers finalize, as numbers lock in, as like, you know, I won't know, we get the certified values on the 25th, or hopefully on the 25th. I gotta turn around and report those to TEA, and they'll turn around and say if our tax rate gets compressed anymore, depending upon what the values do. And so I'll know the tax rate, like hopefully by August the 2nd or 3rd, I'll know what the tax rate is. And we'll just keep going forward from that.
So the ADA that you're gonna use is the 24-25 ADA?
Yes, but and even in the numbers I'm using now, we're still trying to finalize those numbers to make sure that
He's
they're.
using very, very conservative estimates, and that'll pay dividends for us.
What does ADA stand for?
Average daily
Yeah,
attendance.
Okay, just make sure.
Just remember, we don't, if we're in class 186 days, you gotta think, if you miss one day, then you basically take 187 and divide it by 185 and divide it by 186, and now you've got .999, that's your ADA.
Okay.
And so that's what we get funded on, not on enrollment, on,
We have to staff for enrollment, but we only get funded for who's here.
Which needs to be changed.
It does. It does.
all right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions? You're gonna get way more excruciating detail on the 21st.
Thank you, Bill. That's just information. So, next item, I guess, Mr. Demetriou, is
Yes.
Philip? Patrick?
Patrick and Sergio.
Man, I can't read that.
Members of the board, good evening. These are exciting times for us right now. These are big moments in the district. So on May 11th, we issued a bond package for the CMAR for the construction of the new Tolosa Midway Junior High. On May the 20th, we had a pre-proposal meeting, which was attended by, I believe, 4 companies at that time. We answered any questions they had, and they were all issued by addendum. And then on June 10th, we received the statements and qualifications and the price proposals from 2 firms. It was Fulton Construction and Jacob and Weaver both submitted bids. Chrissy just passed out the bid tab form. As you look at the form, you can see it was very close. There was a separation of 4 points in the end. You'll look at project-related experience is where Fulton had a little bit more experience in the project size that we're looking at compared to Jacob and Weaver. Jacob Weaver's done a lot of remodeling and additions to schools, but Fulton's done a lot of ground-up work for this, and that's how they edged out in points. The financial background, the slight point difference. Fulton Construction didn't want to disclose, they didn't immediately disclose their financials. They had to submit a letter for that, so we knocked off a few points for that. Still, everything checked out fine. And then the only other point difference, and it was a 1 point difference, was a contract amount, and you can see the numbers at the bottom there. Very competitive. I think both companies would have done a great job. Just Fulton has a slight edge on the experience on projects of this size.
Fulton is also constructing our Career and Technical Education Center
And natatorium renovation.
and natatorium.
And they're gonna be able to take on the rest of it also?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
They
Because
have
that's
they have
there's a lot of
multiple-
jobs going on.
They have multiple schools on their resume around the same cost that we're at, as well as the CTE, so their bonding capacity was, the other company couldn't compare on that as well, so it's really the best choice for the school district right now.
And are they working on a different school or just primarily just ours when
I
they
believe
start?
they have
working?
other projects, yes.
They have other projects
Yes,
going on.
Multiple projects.
Yes.
When's the natatorium completion ballpark?
The original tentative date was October of 2025.
That's gonna change. we're going to bring a significant change order. We need a new roof. And when we were doing the bids, we had alternative bids for the roof because we were gambling on that when they removed some exterior that we couldn't see, that we wouldn't have to replace the roof. And unfortunately, when they removed that, it showed that we need to do a new roof at the natatorium, which is going to be an $800,000 expenditure. We do have $200,000 built into the Betterment Fund contingency, but the rest of that is going to have to go to the roof. It would be extremely unwise to invest $8.3 million and have a roof leak. So we'll find the money, but that's not a junior high issue, but it is a construction issue
That's the reason for that.
that I wanted to bring that to your attention.
So how long is it gonna push it back?
I don't know. Do you?
Right now, we're looking, it was originally October, until we get the change order and everything submitted, it's looking like late November, early December, about 2 months. But we'll have complete information for you on the 21st.
Going back
It just
to,
brought to mind, like Ms. Boone said, there, availability of,
yeah, we need to get our swimmers.
resources, so it sounds like the natatorium would be done before we're to that point anyway.
And they've got a whole separate crew, project manager and everything for this project, separate from the other ones.
I did ask, we had a construction meeting last week, and I did ask, what other areas are we gambling on that can bite us? And Patrick, you were there. I recall it being practically nothing.
That's correct. The other biggest gamble was the wall, and we've already they've demoed out the wall completely, so we know what's in there. So that was the other chance that we were taking, that we were gonna have to demo more wall than we expected, but no, it came right on target, so we're good.
So going back to the junior high, Fulton is a Corpus Christi company. They have the capacity to take on multiple projects. Most of I'm not know exactly, these two representatives will, but most of the new CCISD campuses you built, the new Carroll High School, Hamlin, the Hamlin Junior High, the excellent reputation and has significant bond capacity.
Awesome.
And then the last thing that I would add is if you look at the pricing, they did come a little lower than the other companies. So, according to our scoring matrix, this isn't just we're making things up, right? There's a scoring matrix that each company goes through, and that's how we come up with those points. And the pricing was kind of the heaviest points that were given at 40 points. So just they were a little lower and gave them a little bit of an edge.
Fulton,
Wasn't it?
the total.
Mhm.
See, that was lower.
Oh, okay.
10,000 right there, the top.
And I was looking at this number.
So that's our recommendation.
Perfect, that's higher than that one.
So your recommendation is to approve?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone?
Well, wait a minute, let me do it a little more formal, Mr.
We're
Gonzalez.
still on summer break over here.
Can't read sequencing of the agenda? My goodness. Mr. Gonzalez, it is the administration's recommendation that the board authorize a contract for construction manager at risk for the construction of the new Tolosa Midway Junior High School to Fulton Construction for a pre-construction services fee of $30,000, a general conditions fee of $2,228,803, and a contract manager's fee of 3%.
Do I have a motion to,
I'll make that motion.
Kim makes the motion? And Ricardo will second the motion. So can we get a vote on that? 5-0, right? Is it 5-0? Yeah. So motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Congratulations. The good news is you've got the contract. The bad news is we don't know if we're going to build it yet, but that will play itself out. But again, I enjoy having you guys as partners. You're very good at what you do, and we're looking forward to your work in the natatorium, the Career and Tech Center, and the new junior high. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, next item is closed session. So the board will convene closed session meeting as authorized by Texas Open Meetings Act to discuss items allowed by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.071, .076, .082, .0821, .083, .084. Current time is 6:21. Okay, we're reconvening from closed session. Current time is 6:52. So we do have some actions resulting from closed session deliberations. Mr. Van Akers,
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees issue an educator probationary contract for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
anyone make a motion for that? Brian?
Make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Kim, seconds, okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. President, members of the board, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees issue an educator dual probationary contract for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
Okay, anyone want to make a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Kim,
I'll second.
Brian? All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the Board of Trustees issue an administrative probationary contract for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
Can I get a motion on that item?
I'll make that motion.
Kim? Ready support. All right, anybody second?
I'll second.
Brian? All right. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. President, members of the board, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees issue a non-Chapter 21 contract for the 25-26 school year as presented.
All right, anyone make a motion? Might as well keep it the same, huh?
Yep.
I'll make that
Second?
motion.
And then I'll second.
All right. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Nope, that's, motion passes 5-0.
That's all we have.
Okay. That's good. All right, well, future meetings,
Thursday. Thursday at 6 o'clock.
At 6 o'clock, and then we have another meeting on, the regular meeting on July 21st, 2025. So next item is adjournment,
I'll make that motion.
okay? Anyone want a second? Go ahead.
I'll second.
Brian? All right, all those in favor? 5-0, none opposed. Okay, that's it.
Thank you all.
Meeting adjourned,
Congratulations.
6:55.
Waiting on Rick.